Very shortly, U.S. President Barack Obama will give his farewell speech from Chicago, where, of course, he will pat himself on the back, tout his legacy, and talk about all of his accomplishments as the U.S. mainstream media props him up and will most likely call him the best president ever. But in this video, I wanted to tell you the 5 things that Barack Obama does not want you to know that he did as president of the United States. Number 1, the destruction of Libya, which even the BBC and the Atlantic had to call the worst mistake that President Barack Obama has committed. But it gets more sinister than just a mistake. This was not a well-meaning intervention that ended in failure. As we know, Barack Obama came on the national stage, convinced the American people and their representatives that we needed to get involved in Libya's civil conflict for humanitarian purposes to help the people of Libya. And that was an absolute lie from the emails that were released this year. And it came out that the United States intervened in Libya to get rid of their leader, Muammar Gaddafi, who was creating a gold-backed currency, an African Union currency that would threaten the US dollar. And now, because of this, Libya is a failed state, filled with sectarian violence, a hotbed for radical Islamic terrorists, where genocide, human rights violations, rapes, crimes, racist bigotry policies are pushed against the people there who are suffering to this day right now in a destroyed state. And when their goal was met and their leader, Muammar Gaddafi, was assassinated with the help of U.S. and NATO bombing campaigns, with rebel groups that they financed that turned out to be radical Islamic terrorists. Videos surfaced of their leader being tortured, being beaten, having a knife stuck up his eye. I won't even mention where. When that video came out, then Secretary of State under Barack Obama said this.
We saw, he died.
Thank God she didn't become president. Number 2, Barack Obama not only made it legal, but carried out a program that assassinated U.S. citizens with drones, without the due process of law, without a judge, without a jury, without a trial. He personally had a kill list, which of course they cited as a deposition matrix, but he made it legal for the U.S. president to assassinate any American citizens he wants without the due process of law. And now Donald Trump will have that power because of him. Now, it's still unknown how many American citizens Barack Obama personally assassinated on his own kill list, since the program is shrouded in mystery. But we know one of the victims was a 16-year-old American citizen from Colorado. The administration was very tight-lipped about this program, and at that moment didn't say anything about it until me and my reporter were actually able to get a comment from Robert Gibbs, Barack Obama's spokesperson on the matter, who said,
and others in this country. And,
that's an American citizen that's being targeted without due process of law, without trial, and he's underage, he's a minor.
I would suggest that you should have a far more responsible father if they're truly concerned about the well-being of their children.
Number 3, after destroying Libya, President Barack Obama set his sights on Syria, where President Bashar al-Assad threatened the U.S. petrodollar and didn't agree on pipelines from Saudi Arabia bypassing Russia. And in 2013, he used the same lines, saying that we need to help this humanitarian crisis inside of Syria, and bomb the crap out of them, until the American people said, wait, no, and then Russia stepped in and sent in their aircraft carriers in between U.S. battleships and said that they would defend Syria if the United States would attack it. The United States backed off, but then Barack Obama secretly authorized a program supporting Syrian rebels with Saudi Arabia, with Turkey, with Israel. They supported Syrian Sunni rebel groups that have soon turned out to be radical Islamic terrorists and ISIS, and now we have another failed state balkanized in the Middle East with Syria. Number 4, he spread a culture of fear and paranoia, not only expanding the surveillance state, but declaring a war on journalists and whistleblowers. And as President of the United States, he has used the Espionage Act more than all the other presidents before him combined to persecute journalists and whistleblowers, creating a culture of fear, which led to people inside of the government not going to their chain of command in order to fix corruption within the government, creating people like Edward Snowden, who had to flee and worry about persecution if he would have whistleblowed on the illegal things the government was doing that was wrong, and exposed the very fact how the NSA surveillance community was spying on all of the American citizens, how how government agents were using this power to spy on their ex-girlfriends, how agents were intercepting sex and using them for their own pleasure and amusement. And now he gives this gift to Donald Trump with a president of persecuting and cracking down on journalists and their sources, which leads to the fifth thing that U.S. President Barack Obama wants you to forget about his presidency, and that is his war on truth. Under the 2012 NDAA, he repealed a law banning U.S. propaganda on its own citizens and codified and made it legal for the U.S. government to lie to its own people, legalizing propaganda usage by the government, allowing them to lie to you. And under this year's NDAA, he signed an NDAA provision which many people say will end free speech. And under this law, they will create a government center that will coordinate efforts on the federal government to recognize, understand, expose, and counter foreign state and non-state, right here, propaganda and disinformation efforts aimed at undermining United States national security interests. Really? President Barack Obama won a Nobel Peace Prize. He came into power under the banner of hope and change. Meanwhile, he has bombed 7 countries underneath his presidency. He was at war every single day of his administration. Just in 2016 alone, the United States has dropped 26,171 bombs all over the freaking world. His speech will not mention this. The mainstream media will cover up these important facts. It is up to you to share this information, to share the true legacy of President Barack Obama. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think are some of the things that he wants you to forget about his legacy, his supposed achievements, in the comment section below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're going to have a subscribe link right here that you could click in the video, a related video right here, and also a Patreon link where you could support real free speech, real independent, right here that you could click in the video and make us beholden to you because we are financed by you. See you back here in 8 years when we talk about Donald Trump. Thank you again so much for watching. Subscribe, click that bell button, and stay tuned for a lot more important information on this independent news channel.